Here we are at a very popular site named Gordon's Calvary, one of the places where perhaps Jesus was crucified. Most scholars believe that Jesus was crucified closer to the city. Now here we notice atop the mountain some cemetery. Well, at that place, if this were the place of the crucifixion, there would have been a road, and along that road people would have passed by and they would have looked at the Roman criminals hanging on the cross. And the Romans meant for this to be a deterrent for people. As they would see those hanging on the cross, they would know that they would not ever want to commit a crime. But we know that Jesus committed no crime. He was fully innocent, and He hung on the cross as an atonement for our sins. Indeed, He covered our sins forevermore for all who believe.
Now, death by crucifixion was actually quite common in the ancient world. And if Jesus was crucified here or perhaps somewhere else, He would have joined the many that were crucified as a deterrent by the Romans. The Romans did not invent crucifixion, but they did make it more cruelsome. Thousands of people had been crucified by the Romans along the roads, as we find in ancient sources. Crucifixion, of course, was physically a rather cruelsome death. Theologically, we know that through that the atonement was brought about for humanity. In the ancient culture, however, one of the elements that we must consider is the shame that the cross brought upon the person and upon the whole family, if not the whole clan or whole city. The families of the ones crucified would not claim the body. Rather, the bodies were dumped in a mass grave. In the account of Christ's passion and crucifixion in the scriptures, we indeed read that people spit at Him, that people hurl curses at Him, swear at Him. His mother is at the crucifixion, but we hear no account of His brothers and sisters being there. Indications indeed of shame being brought upon Him. Those crucified were crucified fully naked, with bodily fluids running down. Such was the shame, the deep shame that people underwent who were crucified. Such was the shame that Christ took upon Him for our sin, in order that humanity might be brought back to God.
Here at Gordon's Calvary, we see, interestingly, that a bus station stands just below Gordon's Calvary. This is one of the spots where Jesus was possibly crucified. Isn't it interesting how noisy the beeping of horns, the rattling of diesel bus engines? Life goes on. But you know, in our own lives, we find that life goes on. But in the background of our lives, we know as Christians that Jesus paid everything on the cross, and that even though the confusing elements of life go on day by day, Jesus on the cross has covered our lives. He has released us from confusion in our inner souls through His powerful crucifixion, His atonement, and finally the resurrection.